Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Good morning, Buffalo ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, November 11th, 2025, and we are so happy you're here today. For lunch today, you can choose between plant-powered nachos, which are served with salsa and sour cream, or a toasted ham and cheese sandwich. Tomorrow for lunch, you can choose between a Chick-fil-A sandwich with fancy sauce and waffle fries, or a grape jelly and sun butter sandwich with a mozzarella cheese stick. Sounds delicious. We have some birthdays today. It is Amalia's birthday in Miss Lindenstein's class, Braxton's birthday in Miss Warren's class, and Caleb's birthday in Miss Lindgren's class, and Oakley's birthday in Miss Wheating's class. So happy birthday. Hope you guys have a wonderful day today, and that you feel very celebrated. Now, today, we are also celebrating our veterans. That's why I have this sign up here that says, "Thank you, veterans." We're going to have an assembly later today to honor the veterans in our lives and in our community. And we will do some more learning at that point in time about what veterans are and why we thank them. But I wanted to do a quick reminder. We will have an assembly this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Our last assembly, there was a lot of talking and goofing around the whole time. And so I would like you to make sure that you are being principled, that you are sitting in your space, putting your attention on the speaker, or the singer will have some music. But the whole point of us being in there is to honor people who have served in the military and who have served for our country and our freedom. And so it's very important that today we are principled, that we do our job, and that we are not being silly and goofy, and your teachers will be sticking close to your classrooms to help you remember that. So I wanted to do a reminder about that, but I also wanted to talk about, if I were interested in learning more about Veterans Day, I could look at it through several different lenses. So I know last week we talked about our 6 different transdisciplinary themes that we can use as kind of a lens or a way of looking at a topic. But if I wanted to do an inquiry into Veterans Day and learn more about Veterans Day, I thought I could look through one of these 3 different lenses. I could look through lots of different, but if I wanted to look through the lens of how we express ourselves, that could be learning about Veterans Day and how we show our thanks, or how do we show our thanks to anyone in our lives, not just veterans. What are different ways that we can communicate that we're thankful? What are different ways that we can make people feel honored? How can we express that? How do we typically do that in our country? Those are questions I could ask myself to do an inquiry into veterans through the lens of how we express ourselves. Now, if I wanted to look through the lens of where we are in place and time, that has more to do with the history and the trends in a certain area. So I could ask questions like, where do most veterans live? What place has the most veterans? What war in our history has the most veterans that served during that time? Or what conflict still has the most living veterans? Or I don't know, lots of different questions that would be more about the history, about the time, or the different places in our country. How we organize ourselves could be questions like, how do people get into the military? What are the structures of the military? What does it look like when people are in the military? What does their job look like? What does their income look like? How long do they have to be in the military? What's that contract like? How does that affect their family's life? Those different kinds of questions would be an inquiry in how we organize ourselves. So I wanted to tie to that. Last thing we're going to do real quick is just jump over to our fact of the week and talk about some strategies there. We're learning multiplication, its groups and its relation, a thinking situation with patterns we can see. Fact of the week, fact of the week, fact of the week, fact of the week, fact of the week. All right, our fact of the week this week is 7 times 7. I think I would most likely use the fact from last week, 6 times 7 equals 42. If I know that really well in my head, then I can just see that I can break one of those sevens up into 6 and one more. So I could do 6 times 7 equals 42, and then I just have one group of 7 left that I could add in to get 49. But if I don't really remember that fact from last week, maybe I know that 3 times 7 is 21, and then 4 times 7 is 28, and I can put 21 and 28 together to make 49. So I would just be breaking one of those sevens apart into 2 pieces. What's your strategy? Why don't you share it with me in the hallway? I can't wait to hear. Have a wonderful day. See you in the hallways.